We tested the 2009 Beta 525 RS for several months. It's a long-term project. And what we did basically was just try to get to know this machine a little bit for what it is. And this bike is a little bit of an oddity. That's what really makes it sort of appealing to people. It's available in limited quantities, and it still offers a really high amount of performance if you go into it with the right mindset. The 525 RS is essentially a street legal dual sport. It's very similar to the KTM EXC line. It's a dirt bike that you can ride on the street. It meets all the emission standards needed for 50 state, and it's totally a lot of fun. The bike also came with a set of Supermoto wheels, a shorter front fender, and the shorter kickstand attached to it. That's basically the only difference between the RS model and the Supermoto model. We took the bike to the track and we quickly discovered that it's not an actual race bike. This is one of the areas where you really have to just keep in mind that the bike is meant as a street bike, not as a race bike, and if you keep that perspective, it works very well. We found that the brakes were a little underpowered for use on the track. There just wasn't enough fluid capacity, and there wasn't enough of a chance for that fluid to cool off in the front brakes. So we boiled that over pretty quick, which obviously doesn't work well on the track. However, under normal riding conditions, you'll never run into that on the street. So it's sort of a minor gripe. Once we were done testing it on the track, we decided we'd go ahead and throw on the street legal dual sport knobbies and take it off-road. And this is where the bike, in my opinion, was really fun. Switching to the 21-inch front and the 18-inch rear wheel definitely has an effect on the handling, but considering the options that it gives you, and you can just bail off at any point, go through a ditch, go up some unknown forest road, it really pays its dividends there, and the bike likes to explore. The Beta 525 uses essentially a 2007 version KTM motor. It's 510 cc's, it provides a load of torque, and the 6-speed transmission really allows it to cover a lot of ground quickly. For the dual sport side of it, we would have liked to have geared a little lower to make second gear more of a regular use on the tight stuff. It's definitely got the motor to pull that, so just fine-tuning that gearing a little bit to wherever you're going to ride is important. The carburation was a little bit of an issue, and mostly it's because it has all the smog equipment on it. We followed the steps that Beta provides to removing that smog equipment, which obviously makes it not a 50 state legal model, but we took that emission control off for our use in Oregon, and the bike actually ran better. We did notice that it had a tendency to vapor lock a little bit when that was still in place. By removing that stuff, which pretty much anyone who owns a Beta will do, it really cleaned the bike up. The Marzocchi fork is a pretty good fork. We like to spend more time, and just like any dirt bike you own, you probably need to get it dialed into your specific use. Same goes for the Sachs rear end. We noticed it had a little bit of a tendency to squat in the rear, and we never quite got that sorted out with preload adjustment. Fine-tuning that can eradicate most or all of that sensation. With 2¼ gallons of gas, the bike has a limited range, but realistically we're able to go roughly 80 miles between stops, and that allows us to go about as far as we need to before we have to get off and stretch. So that's pretty acceptable in terms of adventure riding. One thing we really liked about this bike was the seat. It had a 2010 model year seat on it, and that really agreed with us compared to the last time we tested the Beta. At just under $9,000, the Beta is something that's really unique. The fact that it uses a well-proven KTM motor that's a great motor really made people find that not only is it exotic, but at the same time, it's something that's desirable and that they have some experience with. Overall, it's a really great bike that can meet your needs if you're looking for something new and very usable.